Alright, so a while ago I made a video on the update that we got to Save the World, and some people have been wanting me to do like an actual video on that build. So why not do that for today? I'm just going to showcase my loadout real quick that I will be using. And this is of course the loadout I will be using. I'm using Base Kyle in lead. I did try this build with Ice King, but I find that Base Kyle is a lot better because normally Base Kyle is of course better against smashers because of the extra health you get for your buildings, and then Ice King is better for basic mobs like husks, huskies, you know, and flingers, because they'll instantly be punished and be frozen. And normally the issues I'm having is with smashers, not basic mobs or flingers, so that's why I'm running Base Kyle in lead. I'm also running Recycling as my team perk. I don't really know what to really run there, but doesn't really matter. Running Power Base Knox, and also Mega Base Kyle, very nice duo to always have. Running a Survivalist Jonesy, as well as Warden Kyle for some healing, and then Battle Beats Wildcat for some extra damage. And that's pretty much the loadout that I will be running. So, before I get into the actual gameplay, I'm going to show you how to of course make this build. Also, there's going to be of course timestamps in the description if you just want to skip over. So basically, for normal data, you're going to be building a simple box like this. For an atlas, you could just do the ramps like this. You just need 4 ramps to cover an atlas. You don't need any walls on the sides. And basically, we're going to be doing a simple box strategy. So some floors like that, and then walls like this on the corner right here. In these corner tiles, we will be putting some anti-airs. This will help with splitters, because if they do, of course, aggro on the, the main walls or the ramps, they will just throw their propanes. And then we're going to be putting wall launchers under, not wall launchers, floor launchers underneath all of the ramps, and we're going to be building 1 tile out with them. So we'll need like 8 total. On your second tile, outwards away from your objective, you're going to be building 2 walls like this, and you're going to be putting light traps down. And make sure, because I am using two wall lights on the same tile, make sure they have different reload times. You do not want to have 2 wall lights with the same reload time because they're accomplishing the same thing. And basically one of the sides, doesn't really matter which one, build up a tile, put a little ramp like that, build up 2 tiles like that. So basically the 4 launchers are going to pretty much launch the enemies upwards, and then they're going to land in this little box here. And then you could put a 4 there. The traps that I use for the build are, they're really debatable, because I personally tend to use traps that, take advantage of whatever element the storm is. So I'm using wall dynamos with retractables. You could use broad, but the problem with broad is that it ricochets 7 times, doing that much damage, around 5,700. But because broadside hits physical damage, its damage is reduced by half. And if we take a look at our wall dynamo, it actually does around 11% more damage because it has an element. That's why it's really important to use traps that have different elements. And if we take a look at our grow floor, it hits around 1600 damage, but if you multiply its damage by 3.5, it used to be free, but it's currently bugged to be 3.5 because effect duration is for some reason on every copy of grow. Basically enough, this trap will hit around 5700 damage, and it will hit of course 66% of its damage in fire zones, 75% of its damage against physical enemies, and then 33% of its damage in water zones. And if we take a look at our retractables, it for 1 by far hits more damage, and 2, retractables is physical, so instead of it doing around that 2700 damage, it's going to be doing around basically 1300 damage or so. So if you're in a water zone, use dynamos and retractables. If you're in a fire or nature zone, use grow floor and broadside. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is mostly just because, well, they will hit more damage depending on the element zone you are in, so you might as well. And also, we're going to be putting sound walls too in this little box as well. Make sure they have different reload times, because again, you don't want the same things like with your wall lights, where, you know, they activate at the same time. You want to have 2 different copies. And basically enough, you're pretty much going to copy the same thing all around your objective. And, yeah, that's pretty much about it for the actual build itself. Now that the build is done, we need something to, of course, protect our base. So, basically enough, just grab some anti-airs and just put them around in a sort of weird-ish circle, pretty much like this. This will help, of course, with lobbers in general, but also it will help out a lot with sploders in case they do become problems, because if sploders, of course, decide to aggro on these walls, they'll probably just throw their propanes and, you know, just break through probably that wall, you know, which will, of course, you know, help the enemies escape. So then they just leave the box, and then they probably end up breaking through that, and you of course don't want that. So make sure you do have some anti-airs around your objective. Very, very helpful. And to defend your walls in case random enemies do attack them, you could put wall launchers. You could also put 4 launchers too, even broadsides. And the reason why is because all of these shrapnels have an impact stat. When enemies are dealt knockback, it can reset their AI, so they're more likely to, of course, just go into your shrap tunnel or into your shrap build. So if something's attacking this wall and they get staggered back by this broadside, there's a good chance that they could just pretty much ignore that wall and just walk straight through. And it's very, very important that you put those sort of impact shrapnels around your build as well. So definitely top priority when it comes to support. If you want to make small barricades like that, you need to be able to support them. And I also thought, for a fun little thing, I would show off what the build could look like in other missions. So this is what the build could look like in a Ride the Lightning. And basically the build is pretty similar, but definitely noticeably a few differences. I got some fences around here too, of course, to prevent enemies from just, you know, like walking through here and destroying and attacking that and then getting straight into the objective. And yeah, it's basically just a pretty much a slightly bigger build, just some extra fences to help them funneled in. You could do like a window there too, you know, a window is not bad for a little bit of extra building health if you want it. And the cool thing with Ride the Lightning is that it's a very, very low % chance that you actually get sploder waves, to a point where it's honestly just best to not even expect them, because it's just a waste of resources sometimes. And also, for some reason, lobbers are considered as assassins in Fan for some reason, so that means they're not going to directly attack your base. They're going to try and attack you, your defenders, and your animals. So yeah, try to stay off the roof for flinger waves. I also put a barricade here. I just made it brick just so it's easy to tell. And basically right here, you can either just have fences that block this off, but you can leave it open. It's a block off, so they're not going to come here anyways. And if they do come here, you could always put a wall light there. And the reason why I do wall light is because enemies will of course get stunned, but they'll also get staggered back by the wall light. So if it gets destroyed like last second, basically, you know, enemies will be stunned and staggered back, you know, probably be right here where I'm standing. But if enemies are dancing, they'll probably just already be right here, ready until that gets destroyed and that gets destroyed, and then they leak straight into your objective. So I definitely do suggest using a wall light there instead of a sound wall. But you can always throw a sound wall onto the side too if you are really worried about that one, like the single sploder wave that Fan has that's very, very uncommon. You can always do a sound wall there, or maybe you can even do 2 sound walls that are alternating there. But again, make sure they don't have the same reload time as your light shrap. Both shrapnels do have the same reload time by default. So make sure if you do something like that, have it alternate. This is what the build could look like for the 2 shelter missions. Not too many differences, you know, just what you would expect. Just something to keep them off of the walls, or fake walls, I guess. You can also do, like, I guess, barricades too, like this. Like, if you have, like, a spot kind of like this where, you know, there's just, like, a bit of edge of the map, you could just do regular barricades if you want. And that's also still fine. And depending on the terrain too, you can also just do edited floors as well. That's also a really good strategy to do as well. And yeah, basically the nice thing with the shelter missions is you got so much floor space. Like, you could shove a bunch of anti-airs and still have room for a defender. And I don't know about you, but like, double boiler defender kind of seems pretty greedy, because, you know, basically he just needs one kill and then basically huge AoE damage right there, you know? And then the same thing is over here. That guy gets one kill and huge AoE damage right there. So you could shove like a bunch of like extra things if you want to, or you could shove like a few healing traps too, if you want to. Like, you could place a health pad there, or a campfire, you know, to heal you and your teammates if you want. And yeah. That's pretty much the build for Shelter on what to expect. And this is basically what to expect for Deliver the Bomb if you're into Deliver the Bomb. Basically, it's just sort of a mixture between the build that you would do for Evacuate the Shelter and Fan. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. There's nothing really too special with, you know, this sort of build. But yeah, you can also use tires too. I guess I should have mentioned that too. Tires can also reset the AI of enemies, because they just have to get staggered or knocked back. And you could just make those tires like either like 2 or 1 star if you want. Doesn't really matter. As long as they reset the AI of all of the enemies, that's all that matters. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You can also do like a tire trap there. I don't find a tire trap dropping down into it being that crazy useful, but you can if you want. You know, if you want like a little bit of extra damage or a little bit of extra support, you could do that. And yeah, that's basically pretty much the build for Deliver the Bomb. Alright, time to get straight into the defense. Been stalling a little bit too much, but you know, I just thought I'd showcase, you know, what the build could look like for all of the different mission types, because, you know, why not? And the spot I got for this one is pretty interesting. It's basically like one lane, which is a little rough. So basically I'm using wall lights here with building health. And then I'm using a health pad with also building health too. And the reason why is because all of the enemies in the wave are going to be funneled into one lane. Which sounds really easy until you realize that, oh wait, all of the smashers are all going to be funneled into the same lane. So basically enough, if one smasher decides to charge, you know, normally it's not a big deal. But, you know, like, if multiple smashers decide to charge, again, not really a big deal, because they're spreading out their damage on different sides of the objective. But with a single lane, they're all going to be, like, doing damage to the same structures, which is not very good for this build, I would say. So I added some defenders to help out a little bit with smashers, just so when if they do charge, they just get instantly taken care of and just dealt with. And also the AoE is really nice too for just regular mobs too, in case they do weak past. Also, the weapons I'm using is the double boiler and the boom bow. And the weapons I have for my defender is the exact same copy as my double boiler. Also, the perks for both those weapons will be in the description for this video. A few hunters trying to go around my barricades because my defenders. It's not really a big deal because they're just going to get gunned down the second they go around the corner, but a little annoying, but I guess it doesn't really matter too much. But yeah, this is definitely noticeably a bit of a problem with the build, not because of, you know, the build itself, but just mainly because, you know, like one laner just kind of sucks sometimes from time to time because of smashers. Because yeah, having like a smasher get, you know, inside a dome shooter's dome, so it's just protected, is kind of really annoying. this right here is a bit of a problem that I did not know about. I did not know that for this spot specifically, like floaters will just literally walk up to the walls here and just blow them up. Probably would have been better if I just did like a sound wall and a tire strap. Tire strap to reset the AI of the enemies, and then a sound wall just to, you know, de-arm them. But yeah, did not know that was a thing. Probably just a bug with their pathfinding, but you know, it is what it is. Sometimes you just gotta deal with things like that, you know, and just do sort of a makeshift sort of strategy or thing like that, you know. Sometimes it's not really a big deal, because all I really need to do is just constantly replace that little wall there. Boss has finally shown up, and it is a husk mini boss, and he has fire as an element. So basically, most of my weapons are nature because we're in a water season right now. So yeah, basically I have no way to really kill him, and he's going to be able to hunt my defenders, which is not the best. But I mean, I guess it could be by far a lot worse. I probably should have despawned my defenders though, to be honest, actually, after playing through that game. Because he would have, because the boss actually ends up destroying my barricades. That's kind of the risky thing with doing defenders sometimes, on the other side of your barricades. Sometimes it can motivate certain hunters to just want to destroy your barricades, like husk mini bosses. But other than that, that's pretty much the build that I used for that that little update video, pretty much. Pretty fun build. It's not too bad, like even against a decent amount of smashers, it does alright. Definitely a few hiccups with the build, but I think that's mostly just due to the spot I'm in, rather than it being an actual problem with the build, because I have tried this build in a lot of different missions, and normally I actually never have that wall get destroyed there. But yeah, also this is just another reason why you should be, you know, putting physics traps on your barricades, because yeah, they were all going over, all the way over there. to try and get through my barricades. But yeah, other than that, fun build. Definitely do suggest checking it out. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, think about maybe leaving a like or subscribing. I do this sort of content all the time. Maybe leave a comment if you have any sort of request for any other, you know, strap builds or weapon loadouts, you know, things like that. And share this video with anyone that likes Save the World. There's probably bound to be at least one person out there that still likes Save the World, so why not? And I guess that means I'll see you in the next one, so have yourself a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.